We have some good news out of the Illinois State House of Representatives, which has just passed a bill that, if eventually signed into law, would automatically register state residents to vote when they walk into one of several different types of government offices. This would hugely streamline the voter registration process. You would no longer need to mail in any forms or wait or anything. It passed the House 115-0. It had already passed the Senate 48-0. And now it goes back to the Senate for tweaking. You might know that a similar bill actually made it through the Illinois legislature last year, but it was vetoed by their Republican governor, Bruce Rauner, who cited, quote, voter fraud as a reason to be against this, which is, of course, bogus. First, because in-person voter fraud just isn't a problem. And second, because registering people to vote automatically is a completely separate process from whatever ID requirements there may be to actually do the voting on voting day. Proponents are pointing out this would actually make it even harder for people to register illegally because your name already has to be on a pre-constructed list of eligible voters at whatever state agency you show up at. So this is actually one of those cases where it's all about suppressing turnout. This is a partisan issue, although it shouldn't be, because it involves more people voting, which is always bad for Republicans. Republicans don't want more people to vote. It's not exactly democratic, is it, Pat, to try to reduce the number of people participating in the democratic process?
Yeah, and of course we're talking about small d democratic, but it's also not capital D democratic either.
It's not either, right, because you are more likely to be obstructing the votes of Democrats than Republicans when you make it more difficult for people to register to vote and to actually vote on voting day. People might forget that Republicans not only push voter suppression at the polling places, but also in the voter registration process. Rauner is still the governor. He says he will sign it this time. We will see. Regardless, the General Assembly in Illinois right now has a majority so large that they actually would likely be able to override a gubernatorial veto, even if the governor did veto it. Every state should have this. It's common sense. This is removing a step in the registration process. We're not talking about IDs at voting precincts. And really, truly automatic voting per se would be even better, like in Canada. You don't have to be registered. You just show up at the polls because you're already on a list by default. Even the concept of registering to vote is one that could be done away with if there was a commitment to increasing voter turnout.
Yeah, and it's easy to forget that voting is a right. It's not like it's a privilege like driving. And of course, there's this administrative step you have to take where you have to register.
Right.
But if we just do things like this or have automatic voter registration when you turn 18 or same day voter registration when you go to the polls, that's a step in the right direction.
And again, it's all sort of suppressed with this vague explanation of voter fraud. And what Republicans mean by that is in-person voter fraud, right? Someone showing up and claiming to be 20 different people to vote 20 times, or people showing up with their name in 10 different districts. This effectively doesn't happen. I think you know the numbers better than I do. In the 2016 election, I think that there were 4 examples.
4 examples.
3 of which were definitive Trump voters, right?
Not necessarily Trump voters, but they were registered Republicans. We know one person voted early and they voted for Trump.
So again, trying to solve a problem that does not exist. Discuss this with us on our Reddit discussion forum, davidpakman.com/Reddit. Today's program is made possible in part by Tagadab, the hosting specialist. Tagadab offers a broad range of affordable and flexible hosting packages, including dedicated servers, virtual private servers, cloud server options, as well as custom server solutions and UK-based co-location services. Over 70% of Tagadab's business comes from repeat orders from existing customers and recommendations from existing customers. And this is really a testament to the support that Tagadab provides their customers. You can get, by virtue of being a listener or viewer of The David Pakman Show, a 10 British pound free credit for your new account by signing up at signup.tagadab.com/TDPS. And of course, by supporting our sponsors, you're also supporting The David Pakman Show.